Welcome to Eye on the Illini. It's Illini Guys Halftime Live. Mike Kegley, Steve Sturm, along with Kedrick Prince. We are talking about a half that, well, let's face it. Right now, we're all like, kind of a boring half. Illinois is only up 14-6. But guys, we're all old enough that we remember games that we would have basically sacrificed our parents to have Illinois be as close as 14-6 in a football game in the fall, especially this late in the year. Ked?
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault. I'm telling you, this was like watching the basketball team play last night. And what's sad, we all talked about it before we got on the air. The bad call. What was I think it was Clement. That changed the momentum. It's just not a interesting game, and these are the kind of games that come to bite you. In basketball, you could kind of turn on. In football, it's not that easy. You let a team hang around, they have nothing to lose. You think they're going to punt, they fake it. You better get a cushion lead and then put them in passing situations, because this is just uninspired. I mean, and it wasn't for Luke Altmaier running with his legs, I don't know if they'd be up at halftime 14-6 right now at all. It's just, drop balls here, overthrowing pass here. And I'm going to tell you what's disappointing to me just a little bit. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I know Maryland does not have a good rush defense, and I understand why they want to run the football, but for some reason the holes aren't there again, because they're trying to run the ball, and it's just not there. So I don't know what the game plan should be moving forward in the second half, but that's not working.
Steve, your thoughts?
So, first of all, I think Illinois was just a little bit overconfident. We were talking maybe about how Illinois fans have become a little bit overconfident at times too. I think the players were a little bit overconfident too. This probably felt like it was going to be an easy 15, 20-point win for them, and Maryland came in, really, really motivated, played hard. Schematically, I was going to say, actually, to Ked's point, when we spread the ball out, spread the formation out on offense. That's when we need to run up the middle. And I was kind of yelling for that to happen as soon as I saw that. We were trying to run the ball up the middle using typical power formation, and that didn't work. So then we spread the ball out to try to throw it wide. And after we spread the ball out to try to throw it wide, that's when you want to run it up the middle, and it worked great. But I hope that's not going to continue in the second half. So obviously we're going to have to adjust some other way. Probably deep throws in the middle is what I would look for, which is not like one of our favorite things. I know we try to be a little bit more conservative than risking, turnovers by throwing it deep in the middle. But that's what I would go for next if it were me. Well, it'd be interesting to see. We're going to have to adjust a little bit more.
Sturdy, what were your thoughts about that very, very exciting, pulse-pounding first half?
Hey, the good thing is they've got the ball to start the second half, so they can kind of open this up pretty easily if they get if they score here. And I did not like the way a couple of things. For one, on that last drive, not taking that 2-minute warning on that third down didn't make any sense to me. Running that play right before 2 minutes was really odd. But overall, they just didn't execute. I thought the offensive line was pretty bad. I mean, they weren't getting any push. And Maryland has some talent on the defensive side of the ball. They're young, but they didn't do it. And Steve and Ked both mentioned that they just weren't ready to play. And it was players, it was coaches. I didn't feel like they were well prepped for this one at all. I mean, they didn't do anything. These guys will, misdirections, over pursuits. They'll do all those things, but they have to take advantage of it. And I didn't think they did. And so, yeah, I think as Steve mentioned, I think that you saw a couple of plays, like the play to Clement was down the seam for 25 yards. I actually thought the seam could have been open on the last play, but they had two guys running essentially in the same exact spot.
Yep.
Which was really bizarre. And neither guy looked for the ball on that last interception Altmaier threw. It was like both guys just running. They're just running to take up space or something. I don't know. It was odd.
Yeah, but you throw a pump fake in there, and I think Dix is going. He's still running.
He's got a touchdown. Yeah. So I don't know. There's some things they can do. You see some openings, but they just aren't taking advantage of anything they get.
Yeah, let's go real quick. Just some stats for people who may not be close by, but Illinois outgained them decisively, 173 to 172. Passing yards, 140 for Maryland, 100 for Illinois. Rushing yards, 73 for Illinois, 32 for Maryland. Penalties are close to even. First downs, 11 for Maryland, 10 for Illinois. Third down conversions, Maryland was 1 for 7. Illinois was 5 for 9. That was nice to see the defense doing a little bit on third down, although the first drive, I don't know if it got to third down. They seem to be going so well. 39 plays for Maryland, 36 for Illinois, 4.4 yards per play for Maryland, 4.8 for Illinois. A lot of things going literally almost every statistical category looks pretty good in terms of that. Between the two of them, very similar. I would like to see, the funny thing is there have been 2 or 3 runs where I thought we were one move away from getting some big yardage, but that seems to be the story of the rushing for Illinois this year.
Well, another thing, Mike, we've talked about the offense, and I know in the last few weeks, the defense has taken a hit. And, so far, after the Washington debacle, Rutgers, they look better on defense, and today they look a lot better on defense. Different schemes and getting pressure on the quarterback, and I think the coverage is better. I think they're tackling better. Just need to put it all together. It'd be nice just to put together good special teams, good offense, good defense, and, maybe to come together in the second half. But it's just real nice to see the defense step up. And I'm also really glad to see that they're at least trying to run the football, and especially Caden Fagan is, he's kind of been I don't want to say an afterthought this year, because I know they have something in Valentine, but I want to see him run the ball a little bit more. Especially if, like if Steve mentioned they're going to run up the middle, he's strong enough to make them miss a couple tackles. And Brad, you're right. I think they're athletic enough. They're more athletic than what Illinois than what people give them credit for.
Steve?
Yeah, so I was gonna, speaking to offense, I do agree. Yes, like Caden Fagan and Illinois in general is more athletic than people think. I think that we kind of try to be super conservative on offense still. We're trying to just not turn the ball over, which, if you've watched Illinois long enough, that Brett Bielema, that's his mantra. He probably says it before he says his prayers every single night, and, says it the first thing when he wakes up in the morning too. Defensively, I wanted to comment. I think we're doing about as well as you can. Maryland's underrated on offense. I don't think, people look at the record and they see it. They haven't really had any quality wins, and they they probably assume that Maryland is just not that great a team. And they're not that great a team, but on offense, they're dangerous. There's a lot of NFL players on that offense. They're not necessarily ripe. They're not necessarily, stars right now, but there's a lot of good talent there. I think that we're playing really conservatively on defense, and it's perfect. You don't want to make a mistake against them. You want to stay in your rush lanes, which we're doing great so far, and still pressuring while staying in the rush lanes, and then not taking any risks among the defensive backs, I think has been helpful too. Like we're playing that inside out secondary defense that we still really like, but we have safeties over the top every time too. It's been perfect. I was a little bit afraid that when it was tight early that we'd take some risks, and we didn't. And I'm very, very happy about that. I just want to see more of the same in the second half. They're looking great. The defense is looking great so far.
Brad?
Yeah, I agree with everything they said. The one thing I would like to see is them. I just don't like when they just line up and they run a delay up the middle on offense. If you don't get the ball going downhill, it's not a quick hitter. It's just like a slow developing play. Their offensive line can't hold their blocks that long. They just can't. And they're, so it's almost, I think they need to run, some quick hitting things. They got to, or they run, where Luke can run. Luke's gotten openings. You saw that on the last drive. Actually should have been a first down if the holding call was, he kind of held on, but it was behind the play. It was pretty much irrelevant. He would have had another first down. They'd have probably gone in and gotten a field goal there, I would guess. So I think you can get those, but I just want to see more of that. I want to see more, getting the ball. And they've used Hank Beatty as a decoy so much on offense right now. At some point, they need to give him the ball on one of those plays because, right now the defense is going with him, but eventually they're going to say, hey, don't go with that guy. He's just a decoy. It's going to, because they're flying with him, and you can see that many of their successful players are when they use him as running through the backfield and things like that. So, I would like to see the offense kind of turn it up a notch, because this is and because Maryland, they're scary at times. I mean, they had some openings there, and the quarterback missed some throws, and he's mobile. They kept him in the pocket for the most part, and that's going to be a key, I think, down the stretch, is making him beat you with his arm. But I would like to get some distance by the offense, kind of turn it up, because then that puts a ton of pressure on their offense to move the ball with the pass.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to both quarterbacks. Malik Washington made a completion there at the end of the half when he literally had to get the ball past Gabe Yakus. I thought he was going to be nothing but a stomp print after that, which was great. And then you have Luke darn near killed one time that he should have been sacked. These quarterbacks are staying in there and really doing a lot of work. I tend to look at them and say, all right, well, at least you can see these dudes are invested in trying to win. Ked, what do you want to see out of Illinois this half?
One thing is like what Steve said. I want to, and Brad both mentioned, I want to see them come out and assert the offense. We all know Illinois has a good offense, and I don't know if they're being conservative or not with their play calling. I want to see them. I really want to see them score the first possession, and I don't want to see a field goal. You need good teams or great teams need to go out and force their will on opponents. You don't let a team like Maryland hang around. I mean, as much as I hate to say this, sports isn't like it used to be in the 80s. Style points matters. I mean, and you're sitting out here, a team that's lost 5 in a row, and you're letting them hang around, and there's no excitement in the stadium, and, it's so quiet you can hear conversations from the fans, So they need to get some excitement back and move the ball. And it's all great that Luke Altmaier runs. I think that's good, but also I don't want to see him get hurt, And Brad mentioned this, and I think this is key. I think one of the reasons they struggled at Washington, because all the teams knew Hank was getting the ball. Now they're using him as a decoy, and that's great. But he is your best offensive threat. Throw the ball to him and let him make some plays.
Steve, anything that you're looking for in the second half?
Sure. So I agree with Ked. I think that getting a couple big splash plays would really make a difference. It would probably energize the team as well as energizing the crowd. I want to say one other thing. I don't want to disagree with Brad, but I want to point out that you can't just push the quarterback run button again and again with Luke Altmaier. He's pretty fragile, or at least he's been fragile, like especially early in his career. I know he's added weight and all that stuff, but boy, every time he takes off to run, I hold my breath just a little bit, because sometimes he comes up limping, and I just don't want him to get affected down the line. I realize we're not going to be in the CFP or anything, but this season takes a hard left turn if he doesn't play the next 2 weeks. We were talking before we came online. Northwestern and Wisconsin are not easy wins. And if we don't have Luke Altmaier, those are going to become very, very tough games for us. So I want to see him make big plays, obviously, but I kind of hope that we focus on him not getting touched. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, but the one thing I'll say is that there are most of those he's not getting touched when he runs. He can get 7 yards and then take a slide. Now sometimes he doesn't do that. I think that's the issue. But no, I really feel like I looked at the defense. There were a lot of, and offensively, there are some fundamental things I want to see him on the offensive line do a bit better, and then also defensive backs. How about Tanner Heckel? That one ball literally almost hit him in the head, but because he spun around, I mean, like that, if he stays where he's supposed to be, that's a pick six. He catches that ball and runs for a touchdown. There's nobody in front of him. So I just want to see him clean some of that stuff up and just because if you're solid in those areas, you're going to be fine against Maryland, and it's going to help you next week, because like Steve mentioned, Wisconsin's defense, although their offense is not great, their defense has been pretty good of late. And the same with Northwestern. They did a great job against Michigan. They're just, they're battling. These teams are playing tough and battling these last few weeks. And they're going to need also the Northwestern needs one more win to get bowl eligible. So they're playing for a lot right now.
Yeah. Let's hope they accomplish that goal before running into Illinois for the last game of the year. because I've seen too many years that there was nothing for Northwestern to play for, that they've made it hard on the Illini. Just looking at what a couple questions I had, have we heard anything on Lowry? Is he, as to why he's not out there from your guys' sources?
I've not heard. I don't know about Mike and Brad and Steve. I've not heard anything.
Okay. No, so
I thought he was still injured.
Okay.
But that was the last I heard.
Yeah. Of course, like I said, Brett's great at not making sure it's a little bit, nebulous on who's where. Like I said, I do feel like, and you say this all the time, I feel like Valentine and Fagan have both been really close to having big runs. Maybe we'll see a tired Maryland team give one or two of those up in the second half. The other question I got for you guys is, it's really strange, but the disease that I'm going to describe started in the NFL, and now it's down to the college level, where it's really hard to figure out what a catch is anymore. And it just really strikes me that when Hudson Clement, that was not a catch. I guess I didn't understand that very much, and you have to wonder, as a player out there, you got to be going like,
well, and what about the interception?
Yeah, which was the same as that,
And balls underneath him. His hands aren't on the ball at all. So yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I found that to be a little bit crazy too. After the game, we're going to be live again, folks, but we will be on the STL Sports Central YouTube page along with the stuff on Twitter. So please make sure that you get there. And of course, if you can do us a favor and like and subscribe to the IlliniGuys Twitter page, that is great. You get to see some of the unique camera work that Brad and I are famous for. We're gonna have to have somebody paint some sort of like Mona Lisa like picture of you, Brad, that we can use in the dark of the night as you're driving home.
Drive home after games. Yep.
Because we've actually seen with Steve, we've got to see the sundown in Central Illinois through his car because it's gotten darker. And I'll just tell you guys, it's even hit here. I mean, yesterday it only got up to 82. So I mean, it is winter. There's a chill in the air.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Mike.
But I like to spread joy whenever I can. So, folks, we will be back after the half. If you think this was a whiny one, if Illinois doesn't win this, you're going to hear whining like you haven't seen for a while. But the cool thing about Underwood and Bielema is we're getting into this thing where we complain about wins because they're not artistic enough. That's a good place to be as a fandom.
First world problems.
Exactly. So we will be back. Until then, go Illini.